Hello my brethren, I hope you're all well. Today we will be covering insomnia, the inability to sleep, or the inability to get a good quality sleep through the night, which leaves you quite tired at the end of the night. So if you wake up constantly tired, even if you feel like you're sleeping sufficiently for yourself, you might actually be suffering with insomnia. Contrary to popular belief, insomnia is not a medical diagnosis. No, it isn't, and if a doctor tells you, yeah, you're suffering with insomnia, please find another physician. Any good physician will try and dig deeper into the reasons of why you're suffering with insomnia. There is of course what a lot term primary insomnia, which is not caused by any disorder. However, I have never seen that. And in this section we will be covering chronic insomnia rather than acute insomnia, as that is related to stressors and pain in the short term, which can of course be rectified quite quickly and sometimes quite easily. The guidelines that I will give about insomnia later on in this video can also be used to treat the acute type of insomnia as well, so please listen if you're suffering from that type of insomnia. For the most part, insomnia is a symptom and not a diagnosis, and people need to understand that. Disturbed sleeping pattern is one of the most common symptoms in mental health disease. That is not to say that the majority of people suffering with insomnia also suffer from mental health disease, but a lot of them will do. I'm saying this because I see a lot of insomnia around in the community and it is left more or less unaddressed. However, there is an epidemic of insomnia in this society, and this not only has to do with the epidemic in mental health diseases, but it also has to do with our modern way of living and the constant distractions that exist in our daily lives. The brain just finds it that little bit harder to just tune out everything and go to sleep. So let's take things one by one. Insomnia can be associated commonly with the following conditions: depression and anxiety. The fact that I only mention depression and anxiety here does not mean that those are the only two conditions that cause it, but those two conditions are the main conditions in the bigger class of conditions that cause this type of problem. Those conditions are called affective disorders. There are disorders that have to do with your feelings. In those disorders, we also include bipolar depression, generalized anxiety disorder, obsessive compulsive disorder, social anxiety disorder, and post-traumatic stress disorder. Additionally, psychotic disorders, which also include schizophrenia, can also affect your sleep, and so do many other chronic conditions. As such, psychiatrists everywhere prescribe medication in order to correct the sleeping pattern, which, although is not a cause for the disorder, it can promote or make the disorder worse if not corrected. So, from what you understand, sleep is quite important. It is the resting phase of the brain. I mean, a lot of people stress this, but I don't think they stress it enough. Sleeping actually happens in cycles, and those cycles are further divided in stages. The stages are the non-rapid eye movement sleep and the rapid eye movement sleep, where dreams occur. There's further subdivisions within those stages of sleep, but we're not going to dwell into that because it's completely unimportant. Each cycle, each sleep cycle that is, lasts about 90 minutes. That's about 1.5 hours. And this is important, and you need to know this because it gets you a good quality sleep if you do your calculations right. What I need to note is that you need to get some rapid eye movement sleep if your brain is going to be functioning at its optimal capacity, which is a very short stage of the sleep cycle, and that's where the majority of the rejuvenation of your brain actually occurs. And I mentioned hours before because, as I said, this is very important. A lot of us work for a living, and a lot of us suffer from sleep disturbances or loud neighbors or what have you, and need to plan our sleeping accordingly. In an ideal world, you would only wake up when you wake up. That is to say, your brain knows how much sleep you actually need. It is not something that's up to debate. This is how things are. However, if you suffer from insomnia, this is something you are unlikely to achieve. However, for everyone else listening to the video, if you had a late night and you need to wake up at a specific time, plan your sleep in increments of 1.5 hours. For example, if you can't sleep for the whole 6 or 7.5 hours, sleep for at least 4.5 hours. And you'll think that that's irrational because you're getting less sleep, but it's actually proven that your brain will be more rested and you will actually function a lot better. For those with trouble sleeping, an important aspect is to understand that medication should be the last option when it comes to getting you to sleep. The reason is that the majority of medication shorten the rapid eye movement stage of the sleep, so they're actually sedatives rather than hypnotics, even if they're marketed as such. And you actually need rapid eye movement sleep, like I said before, so we need to promote natural sleep if we are to achieve that. But I guess some sleep is better than no sleep some of the times. The best sleeping advice is the following. Have a room that's only dedicated for sleeping. No TV, no computer, no laptop, no nothing. The only thing you do there is you fuck and you sleep. If you have any of those things in your room, just switch all the screens off before you sleep. Your brain wakes up to the blue light, which is mainly produced by the sun, so that light is also produced by the screens, and that actually messes your circadian rhythm, and that's what those screens do to you. So please turn your screens off. Have you ever noticed how in clubs the lights are kind of like bluish in color, and that wakes you up even if you're feeling very, very tired? So please, no books, no nothing lying around your bedroom. Just try and maintain your bedroom mainly for sleeping. Your heart rate needs to be reduced and you should be feeling quite calm, and your body temperature should go down slowly. So showers and baths and drinking kind of like warm milk and chamomile tea prior to sleep actually might help, but they don't help as much as people think. But if you do one behavior before going to bed, your brain associates that behavior with sleeping and switches to the mode which gets you ready to sleep. So if you have such a tradition, please maintain it. No coffee or tea prior to sleep, that is up to 4 hours before going to bed. You might be thinking that you're sleeping fine, but in actual fact the sleep that you're getting is quite disturbed and the rapid eye movement stage of the sleep is reduced. And definitely no alcohol prior to sleep. You're not sleeping when you're drinking alcohol, you're actually being sedated. And that behavior promotes alcoholism because then you learn to associate sleeping with alcohol. Thick ass curtains that block out the sun are also essential in getting a good night's sleep. The further up north or down south you are in the world, you will need to control the entry of sunlight in order to be able to sleep appropriately. So close your curtains tight before you go to bed, otherwise you might be woken up by that blue light that we talked about. If you missed on hours of sleep, try to regain those hours by sleeping more during the weekend. The way I achieve this is that I switch off my phone, close the curtains, lock the doors, just stay away from everyone and sleep until I wake up. And that means I gain to all the sleep that I've missed during the week. That's something that everyone should be doing before they wreck themselves, to be fair. And I'm saying wreck themselves because disturbed sleep, or sleep debt as they call it, will actually decrease your immunity and make you feel quite miserable. It will make you feel anxious and occasionally it might make you feel depressed. And you will actually be wondering why. It's because you're not sleeping enough. That's why. So trust me on this, just do as I say and you'll be fine. Regain the sleep that you have lost, and if you can't, just use your holidays to just be, in essence, sleeping holidays. Party during your normal days. Just sleep as much as you can during your holidays. That's what I'm doing. Now, lastly, we will cover medications. Doctors use 3 classes of medications for sleep. Ideally, there is only one class that should be used, and that is the hypnotics. At the moment, the main ones that are used are zopiclone and zolpidem. Some doctors may also use benzodiazepines, which are anxiolytics, which also help with sleep. However, both classes are quite addictive, and if used for a prolonged period of time, they will ruin your ability to sleep without them, and they might make you anxious if they are removed suddenly. So please try not to use them on your own. Try to get the advice of a healthcare professional who can advise you on how to use it. For the rest of the medication, sleep is pretty much a side effect. Antihistamines is a popular class of drugs that actually has sedating effects. The newer class of antihistamines, such as cetirizine, will not give you the same effect as they're not as sedating. But older antihistamines such as chlorpheniramine can actually achieve the sedating effect, but I would highly advise against using those drugs in order to sleep. Occasionally, a doctor might want to hit two birds with one stone and would prescribe you an antidepressant with a sedating effect in order to help the patient to both sleep and get better with his or her depression. You will know if your antidepressant is of such a class because your doctor will ask you to take it at night. Other drugs that can also sedate and get people to sleep are antipsychotics, which are beyond the scope of this video and I'm not going to touch on them. So, in conclusion, sleep is important. If you suffer from insomnia and you have not seen your doctor yet, I would strongly advise to go and see him or her to see if he or she can help with something. In the meantime, you can try some of the advice that I mentioned in this video to help yourself to get to bed. You might be suffering with an underlying mental health disorder, but even so, the advice that I gave in this video should help with your sleep. I have also listed some links in the description for you guys to get more advice, so read for your benefit and sleep well, my brothers. Thank you for listening. This was the first video in the health series as part of the MGTOW in Action group that I'm a member of. Please comment below for further topics that you might want me to cover. Also check out videos from MIA for more positive content. Links would be of course in the description. People have been inspired by the mayor and are helping the homeless. People are organizing meetups. People are putting posters and spreading the message in the real world. So people are turning MGTOW into a force for good. So yeah, let's go. Stay tuned for more and check out my description for the links that I've just mentioned. This was Nikuchowski talking about all things man. Please like, share and of course subscribe to my channel for more updates.